Bangladesh and India are two really fascinating countries, and here on FTD Facts, I've come to learn a lot about these countries individually. I've discovered what their strengths and weaknesses are, their cool history, and everything that makes up these great nations. However, one hard part that may be for someone who is not from these countries, and maybe even from somebody who lives within them, is to identify what makes these two nations great and unique in their own way. How's it going, guys? My name is Dave Wapple, and welcome to FTD Facts, the channel where I look at people, cultures, and places from all around the world. And today, in this video, I'm just really excited to learn about the differences and also the similarities between India and Bangladesh. Now, I've talked about these countries quite a lot, especially India in the past. A lot of you guys who are my viewers, you already know that that's kind of the stuff that we have talked about. And you know what? Not gonna lie, it's been a while since I've done a video on Bangladesh and India, and I thought for the new year, boom, I would give you guys something fresh and interesting. And for me, obviously not being from those countries, I kind of look at it from an outside perspective and say, what is the difference between the two? Is there any differences? Well, you know what? Let's figure it out. Let's find out. Now, before we get into this, guys, just letting you know, I've done some playlists on India and, of course, Bangladesh. Bunch of different videos. You guys can check it out. I'm going to put one right up here, but I'll also put the card at the end of this video for you guys to check out. Also, guys, any point, if you're liking this video and you want more content around these two nations, just hit that like button. Okay, let's start it up. All right, so we gotta begin with some of the obvious points today. Now, the population is the first point. Now, India is... well, it's huge, man. I mean, they gotta stop. I mean, they need condoms over there. I'm just kidding, but seriously. Because India ranks second in the world with having a population of 1.324 billion people. As for Bangladesh, they also have a rather large population of 162 million people, ranking 8th in the world. Of course, one similarity between these two nations is that both of these countries have done a census in 2011, so they're rather on point, and those numbers that I just gave you are 2016 and 2018 estimates. Now, of course, with all these people, one major difference is the life expectancy between the two. And that is, in India, the life expectancy on an average is 68.89, and in Bangladesh, it's 71.6 years. One thing that they do have in common, and I think a lot of nations have this in common, is that women have a much longer life expectancy than men. Which, by the way, why is that, guys? I mean, like, is it us guys? We just have very terrible life, you know, habits. Like, we smoke, we drink, we fart at inappropriate times. But it's funny. You're telling me the girls don't live a healthier lifestyle? Well, they do love yoga, much more than men do. Oh, yeah. So with these people, besides life expectancy, one thing we also got to look at is religion. Because, well, they're quite different as well. Because in India, they say approximately 79% of their total population follow the belief of Hinduism. Coming in at second is the Islamic Muslims at 14.23%. Christianity, although it's tried numerous times to take off there in history, it sits at only 2.3%. Yeah, sorry, Christians. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I was very shocked to find out that Sikhism was very, very small within this country. I always thought it would be much larger, but it's not. As a matter of fact, it sits at only approximately 1.72% of the entire population. And as for Buddhism, which is one of my personal favorites, I mean, it's not really a religion. They say it's more of a way of life because they don't really have a religious god or entity. They just like Buddha all the time. But it is really, really low, sitting at 0.70%. Bangladesh, however, is way different. Hold the phone. I thought it would always be the same, but nah, man. As a matter of fact, Islamic faith is like 90% of the population. It's nuts. Hinduism, however, is second. It comes in at like only 8%. Buddhism, big unhappy face, is only about 0.60%. And of course, Christianity also tried to take off there. It didn't succeed because there's only about 0.30% of the population is Christian. Yeah. Next up, let's dive a little bit further. Let's talk about languages. Very, very different. Because for India, it has two official major language families, and that is Indo-Aryan and Dravidian, which for India is broken up into 23 official languages. How does anybody drive and look at signs? I mean, just imagine seeing a street sign with 23 official languages. That would be nuts. That doesn't actually happen in India, but in other countries, like if you have like French, sometimes you'll have bilingual signs. Not in India, because you'd have street signs the size of billboards. They'd take up the whole street. In Bangladesh, however, they only have one official language, and that is Bengali, in which they say about 90% of the people speak this language. I should also mention that Bengali is an Indo-Aryan language, and it is also within India. As a matter of fact, for India, the 23 official languages are Assamese, Bengali, Bodo, Dogri, English, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, Maithili, Malayalam, Marathi, Meitei, at least I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not too sure. Meitei. I could be wrong there. Heck, I could be pronouncing all of these things wrong, and you're all cringing right now going, Dave, how you doing there? Oh, I'm English. We screwed everything up. Nepali, Odia, Punjabi, Sanskrit, Santali, Sindhi, Tamil, Telugu, and of course, Urdu. Whew. That was a lot to get through, and I had to look at my list on my computer down there. No way I could memorize all that. Moving right along, let's take a look at who governs these people, because the government is very different as well. Similar, but it does have differences. In India, for government, it is classified as a federal parliamentary government, whereas Bangladesh, it is a unitary parliamentary republic. Basically, for some of you guys who may not know the difference, I know when I first started looking into governments, I was like, I don't know what that really means. Unitary means that there is one central form of government that makes all the rules. Federal basically means that certain decisions within the government are divided amongst the different departments. You've got federal, you've got state, provincial, and of course local that help make up all of the decisions. India, however, modeled their form of parliament after the Westminster form of government. And as for the president, I should say, in Bangladesh, he's more of a ceremonial sort of title. And with that, the prime minister kind of has a little bit more influence than the president. At least that's how I've come to understand it. I mean, I could be a little bit wrong. In India, the prime minister, I mean, he's got a lot of power, but he's also an advisor for the president. And therefore, he acts as the president. So I guess you could say that they both are kind of the same in the sense that the prime minister has a lot of influence to the president and therefore, if not has more or the same amount of power. However, that being said, when it comes to both countries for their presidents, they are also considered the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Also, one similarity for these two countries is that they both have elections every 5 or so-ish years. I think it's 5 on the number. Some of you guys could let me know if that's changed or been different down there in the comments section below. It's kind of hard to get some information on that, but it looks like it's been almost every 5 years in India and Bangladesh. Now, moving along, probably one of my favorite things to talk about when I look at differences is cuisine. I don't know about you guys, but I love eating. I love to get my belly big and wide. Actually, no, I'm really insecure about my belly today. I mean, I just had Christmas, so a lot of chocolate. Now, for me, this is going to be a little hard to do because there are so many cultural similarities and, of course, differences. And there are just so many dishes in India and Bangladesh, so I'm not going to go through all of them. Basically, I'm just going to pick a few of them, and let's start off with India. You got tandoori chicken, which is awesome, but even better for me, because I'm just in love with this stuff, butter chicken. Oh, it's so good. So for butter chicken, it's widely believed that it originated within India, and actually many people think it was created in the 1950s, being invented from 3 guys who created a restaurant called Moti Mahal, which is a very popular restaurant within India. As a matter of fact, I think they have over 150 locations worldwide. Now, as for a popular dish that comes from Bangladesh, this one is Chingri Malai Curry. As for where it came from, I really don't know, but it is very popular within the country, and that's basically all I could find on it, but it's pretty delicious. I should also mention rasgulla. There is I mean, I don't know if you've had it, but there is a lot of kind of disputes of where rasgulla came from. People from Bengal say that they created it. People from India say that, nah, we created it. I'm pretty sure Sri Lanka is like, yo, I'm just jumping in this argument because that's what all the cool kids are doing. However, when it comes to rasgulla, origins kind of point it in the direction of it being created in Calcutta. But however, I don't know if there's anything officially in writing, so it might be still somewhat a mystery. Moving right along, let's look at UNESCO zones, World Heritage Sites. I love them because, I just love preserving history. History's so important. Bangladesh, unfortunately, doesn't have a lot of these. However, they are growing. They only have 3 of them right now, and about 5 of them are on the tentative list. And as for India, man, they got a lot of UNESCO zones. They got like 36 of them. It's a bit extreme. Actually, I'm kidding. It's not extreme at all. You need more UNESCO zones. It's just, we need to protect history and culture and nature and all that sort of stuff. That's just me. However, in Bangladesh, one of the coolest ones that I should mention is the Sundarbans. Of course, this is also in India, but it's a really cool thing, and I just want to mention that. And basically, it is a giant mangrove forest. And the reason I mention this is because within Bangladesh is one of the most preserved and protected lands, as the whole area has a ban on poaching or capturing of animals, and certain areas of the forest are protected from logging and other forms of destruction. Of course, India's got a lot. I'm not even going to mention them all because we'll just be here forever and it'll be the longest video in the history of YouTube. Did you hear me when I said that? I said the history of YouTube, but some strange reason a demon came out of me when I said that. But the one that I really want to mention is the Valley of Flowers. It's so beautiful. I love it. Yeah, guys, I know I'm a dude. I should like cars and girls and things like that. I do. But I also like my teas and I like my beautiful scenery. And that one is, like, the best of the best. And if you think it's weird that I like flowers, come on, look at it. It's beautiful. Plus, on top of that, it was discovered and wrote about in a book in 1931. Sure, it was discovered earlier in 1862, but somebody didn't write a book about it. And it's kind of a rather new find, and I like that sort of stuff. Moving right along, let's go talk about music. Now, music is also, it's not super diverse, but culturally, there's been some influences from India and Bangladesh that I should mention that are different. Because let's be real, music in India has been around for at least 30,000 years. And the reason they know this is because they see people playing instruments on cave drawings in the Bhimbetka cave shelters. Unless, of course, some guy just went recently in there and just drew it with a pen or something like that and fooled everybody. However, for both of these countries, they got a lot of folk and that kind of music and traditional music, and I'm not going to get into that because, again, there's a lot of it. But one of the biggest forms of music in India today is filmy music, which is the form of music that is from movies. Thanks Bollywood and all the films that are from, because not every movie in India is called a Bollywood film. Bollywood is just a small percentage of all the films that are made in India. I don't know about you guys. A lot of you are from India, so you obviously like this, but for me, I'm not a big fan of song and dance in movies. I'll watch a music video for that. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just not my personal preference. I like drama, arts, and scenes. On top of that, India has their versions of rock and pop. I'm waiting for India rap, but I don't know if it exists or not. I'm willing to bet it does, but I've never heard of it. Feel free to put some links in the description box below and entertain me. However, one major thing that I should mention that's an international influence is Raga rock. Basically, it's India rock that was very popular in the 60s, and a lot of bands grabbed this and held onto it. You got the Beatles, you had the Rolling Stones did it in Paint It Black, you had the Byrds. Tons of bands were really heavily influenced by Raga rock. As a matter of fact, guys, I feel like that video, how Raga rock and how India influenced rock and roll, should be its own video. If you guys want that, be sure to maybe hit those like buttons or let me know down there in the comment section below, because then I will look into it. However, Bangladesh, they also have their versions of rock and roll and pop. Unfortunately, they haven't been too much of an international influence. However, one music that is actually taking off right now is a fusion form of music called Urban Bangla. And basically, it's like a Bangladesh kind of form of pop and hip-hop, that sort of thing, and it's getting really popular. As a matter of fact, in places in America, Australia, and the UK, they're all starting to see a little bit of a rise in that popularity of music. Either way, guys, that's me looking at some of the differences and some similarities between Bangladesh and India. I'm not gonna lie, I know I missed a ton of it, and yo, if you guys want a part 2 to this, be sure to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and if I missed stuff, put it down there in the comment section below, because I always like to know different things, and yeah, maybe I'll use it in a part 2. I may not, but I love hearing from you guys and hearing what you had to say. By the way, guys, also, before you get out of here, boom, right here is the playlists that you guys can check out. One's on India, and one's on Bangladesh. I don't know why I just paused up Bangladesh there. Bang on la dash. It would be like French. You bang on la dash. You guys don't know French, so, you know, if you intimate with somebody on the dashboard of your car, that would be really hard to do. Yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm out of here. That was a fun video. Glad you guys had a good time, and I'll see you in the next one, okay? Bye-bye! So you made it to the end. Congrats. Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, here's those 2 playlists that I was telling you about. They're also in the description box below, but you guys do whatever you feel like doing. But my name is Dave Wapple. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you later. Ooh, have a good day. Bye.